Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic, and we're here today to take a look at Strixhaven. Now that we have the full spoiler, I want to break down the cards that I feel are going to be important to the format of Commander and the ones I think we should be picking up. This is either because they're essential role players in many diverse decks, or because it may be a new archetype-defining card. We'll take a look at my top 5-ish cards from Strixhaven. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It tells YouTube to show these videos to more people so we can reach a larger audience. And if you want to pre-order any cards from Strixhaven, check out our affiliates. Our Canadian affiliate at Harry Tarantula, where you can use the code CMDR Space Mechanic at checkout to support the channel. Or our international affiliate at TCG Player. You can find links to both in the video description. We'll start our Strixhaven top 5 with honorable mentions. I want to give a shout out to all of the amazing targeted removal spells we'll be receiving this set. If you thought cards like Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy were good, step aside. If you are making room in your decks for Mortify or Putrefy, look closer at these options. New cards like Fracture, Vanishing Verse, and Mortality Spear are all amazing 2-ish mana instant speed removal options. They're versatile and excellent in our format. I expect these to be new must-haves among with others like Rip Apart and Decisive Denial. These spells are now the new gold standard for removal in Commander. The versatility these represent is unparalleled. Next up in our honorable mentions are the MDFC Legends. I covered these in my earlier spoiler review, link up top, but each of these represent a new pivot for decks building opportunities. Ranging from combo pieces to value engines, I can't wait to see decks built around just one of these faces, but being able to use the color identities of both. As a brewer and deck builder, these get my blood pumping. And lastly, a rare dishonorable mention from me, and that goes to the Lessons. These spells are all decent, but are all priced as if they're to be fetched by the Learn mechanic. And since the Learn mechanic functions only as a rummage effect in Commander, these are just a tad overpriced to be effective and justifiable includes in any deck. They're narrow and specific because they're meant to be tutored for. You're better off finding a card dedicated to the effect instead and including it. On the upside, the colorless Lessons have given colorless decks a few more non-permanent spells to play with in their 99s, so it's not a total wash. But still, I'm just a tad bit disappointed. Now on to our top 5-ish Strixhaven cards for Commander, starting with Wandering Archaic / Explore the Vastlands. This MDFC is a non-legendary and features a creature on one side and a spell on the other. This one being special because it's entirely colorless, meaning any deck can run it. The front half is a 5-mana 4/4 avatar with an amazing ability. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you can copy that spell and choose new targets. Wow! Free spells and a taxing effect, in colorless. Incredible. I'm already seeing people call this guy Ristic Buddy, and the moment you get to copy a single spell, it'll definitely be your best friend. The only way this ability isn't going to net you a positive return is if the first spell an opponent casts is a board wipe. Otherwise, wow, is this powerful. And that's not even taking the backside into consideration. Explore the Vastlands is a 3-mana sorcery that gains each player 3 life and lets them grab an instant sorcery or land from their top 5 cards. Very group huggy, but versatile for gaining some favor at the table, or when you can grab a better card from your library. Both sides of this make it viable to play in just about any deck, but I'm excited to put it in the 99 of just about everything I build. I think this is going to be a new staple of the format without a doubt. Free spells are free value. I can easily see this up there with Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe, and other asymmetrical taxing effects as being entirely too strong in Commander. Count on me to try and exploit it. At number 4 on our list is Strixhaven Stadium. This mana rock rocks. While I'm not normally a fan of 3-mana rocks, any utility artifact that also says that player loses the game is too good to count out. When you tap this artifact or deal damage to an opponent with a creature, you get a point counter. but remove one whenever an opponent damages you. Be careful because this paints a target on your back. But when you put the 10th point counter on the stadium, you get to make the player you dealt damage to lose the game. That's right, it's not just that you win the game, but that player loses the game, an interesting effect in our format. First, in Commander, you need to defend against 3 times as many opponents you do in 1v1, making this a little trickier. Plus, taking one opponent out of the game still leaves you as a target for the other 2. Difficult to balance for sure. But for any deck that can either go wide, be defensive, or prevent opponents from attacking, this is a very viable win condition. In fact, it's very close to Infect or Finn the Fangbearer's poison counters in that it greatly reduces the amount of damage you need to do in favor of increasing the bodies you need to deal that damage. And that's not even taking into account effects that would prevent opponents from attacking you. It draws your clock out significantly, so having a Sphere of Safety out, or a Moat, or a Crawl Space means you need to defend against significantly fewer threats and can draw out your point scoring clock significantly. Look out for this one to be a big part of strategies like Proliferate in the future too. I think it'll be one to keep an eye on, especially as it's similar to Wandering Archaic in that it can be put in any deck. At number 3 on our list is my favorite of the Elder Dragons. It's Galazeth Prismari. Galazeth is unique from their brethren in that they only cost 4 mana, and one of those is refunded right away via a treasure token. A 3/4 flyer for 3 mana on its own would be amazing, but Galazeth turns all of your artifacts, treasure tokens included, into mana rocks to cast instants and sorceries. If you thought it was obnoxious to have a control deck hold up mana, imagine now that they can tap their treasure tokens without sacrificing them, or tap a Swiftfoot Boots for mana, or an Aetherflux Reservoir to sling a spell. That's just the base level benefit on Galazeth. Because you can tap artifacts for mana, this Elder Dragon functions a lot like Urza, Lord High Artificer, in that they can turn off stacks pieces on demand. What I mean is that artifacts like Winter Orb or Static Orb worked only when untapped, meaning Galazeth can ensure that on your turn you aren't affected by Storage Matrix, since you can ensure it'll always be tapped as you head to your untapped step. An easy way to break the game and set your opponents very far behind. Even artifacts like Howling Mine function this way, ensuring that only you draw an extra card by tapping it after you've drawn. A very sneaky way to turn non-mana producers or symmetrical effects into extra mana and asymmetrical stacks pieces. Expect to see something on the higher power range here, and expect opponents to groan when you pull out a Galazeth-led deck. If you aren't running these stacks pieces, have that talk with your opponents and set expectations. At number 2 on our list is maybe the best big mana finisher we've ever seen printed. It's Crackle with Power. This badass mythic sorcery is X rated. Yes, it's got 3 X's in the casting cost. X, 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 and 2 red mana to deal 5 times damage to up to X targets. So for 5 mana, you deal 5 damage to a single target. For 8 mana, it's 10 damage to 2 targets. And for 11 mana, it's 15 damage to 3 targets. Wow. In any big mana deck, via ramp or spells, this is going to be a big, out-of-nowhere fireball finisher. It's much more efficient and effective than a Jaya's Immolating Inferno or a Comet Storm, and can really come out of nowhere. In decks that look to generate infinite mana or obscene amounts of mana, this will be an amazing way to close out a game efficiently. In some cases very early too. Via Red's ritual effects, you can ramp fast and blast opponents. A single mana geyser can often generate enough to dome each opponent for half their starting life totals. And don't get me started on the crazy things you can do with a Neheb the Eternal. I am expecting this to be the big new Oops, I Win card in Commander, reaching a point in the game where drawing this off the top, counting your lands, and just saying, I guess I win, is normal. And never underestimate the ability to copy or recast this too. An Underworld Breach letting you storm a few rituals together into this is an outlet which is very viable. And last on our list, well, it wouldn't be school if I didn't cheat a little bit. I've chosen 2 cards for the top spot. It's Double Major and Rushed Rebirth. These 2 cards are sharing the top spot because they're both so good. These two 2-mana instants are going to be broken in their own ways, so let's take a look. First is Double Major. Now naturally I like this because it makes copies of creature spells you control by adding another green-blue to the casting cost. You get another token copy, and I should say, another non-legendary token copy. So if you thought effects like Vorinclex were powerful when you had only one, now you can get two. If you thought one Atraxa or Yarok was sufficient, double that up. Double your double. Do note that this won't get you multiple copies from a Parallel Lives or a Doubling Season. Since you're copying a spell on the stack, you aren't creating a token that these enchantments can see. But you can populate the copy. You can clone the non-legendary copy. And you can make copies of your copies. And that, for me, sets this spell apart. Once you have a Double Major token, you can then Cackling counterpart it, clone it with a Phyrexian Metamorph, or populate it with a Full Flowering. And these tokens can definitely be doubled with a doubling effect. I'm excited to have the new C21 Legends Adrix and Nev, or Essex, choose their Double Majors soon. Now our other top choice is Rushed Rebirth, a green and black instant that reads choose a creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with a lesser mana value and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So it's kind of like an Eldritch Evolution or a Birthing Pod effect, but for lesser mana value rather than greater. And why does that make this card better? Well, free creatures are always good, but this can target any creature, not just yours. It may be more reliable to target a creature you're going to sacrifice or that is going to be dealt lethal combat damage to go tutor up a combo piece or a hate bear, but you can target an opponent's creature that another opponent is removing, and for 2 mana you can tutor a creature to play. Amazing value. Being able to target an opponent's dying creature and grab a Collector Oof to shut down artifacts, or grab a Thassa's Oracle with a Demonic Consultation already in hand? This is just an amazing tutor and an amazing value piece. It's too good not to jam in just about anything in these colors, but I do expect it to be seen at the higher power level tables a lot more often. And I think that's how I feel about a lot of this set. While we're given a lot of new toys to build around with new legends, I feel that this set is going to be more about role players in the 99 rather than creating brand new archetypes. We're going to see a lot of smaller utility cards, like Reconstruct History, showing up in any lists running these colors from here on out. A lot of people are undervaluing this set or writing it off because it's not thrilling from a build new decks perspective. But in my opinion, it is very exciting from a replace cards in the 99 perspective. Tell me what you think about Strixhaven and what you think about my top 5-ish picks in the comments below. What are you most excited for? Give this video a like and share, and we'll talk more about the goodies from Strixhaven soon. As always, folks, good luck and have fun.